Hello, everybody, and welcome to my reason number 6 why I think we have a hint from the market that Opendoor is better. And the reason number 6 is again one of the hallmarks of success for any disruptive businesses is when you are the target of criticism. And I'll begin with a more formal target of criticism before I go into what real estate agents say about Opendoor and how they criticize. Um, this one is a fine, a $62 million fine from the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, for potentially cheating or misleading customers about the home buying service. Um, and they say that, well, apparently Opendoor is making a claim that you can sell for more money your house, and um, that it's not true, that actually realtors can do it better. And and I stand with Opendoor on this one because they replied to it and they said we never, we never made that claim. Like they did say, no, we provide better tools. That's what we do. Um, and I think this is just a way for FTC to earn money. Um, and again, when you read that claim, to me that claim doesn't work. To me that doesn't make any sense because no, Opendoor actually saves you more money than going through a realtor. And actually, if you remember my video about how most agents are volume driven and not highest sales price driven, actually, you're more likely to end up with someone who's volume driven if you get recommended by a realtor who's going to be like, well, you gotta sell your house. I've been working with you for 2 months now. It's about time, sell it. Um, so I actually am fully on the side of Opendoor on this one, as I think most of their customers are. If you read the reviews, if you read the Net Promoter Score, if you read the reviews of the app, customers love Opendoor and they can't get enough. I am never ever buying a house with traditional process again. The tools are better. It's cheaper. It's an app. You only deal with an app. But anyways, that's more of a toll on success, I think, the FTC. And very interestingly, and I want to put this here, similar things are happening at Tesla with legacy enforcement systems. This one is going after Tesla, saying that Tesla actually did some false advertising by misrepresenting self-driving. Oh no, it's actually not self-driving. Well, yeah, maybe it's actually not self-driving, but if you've seen any video of a Tesla and the driver using FSD, it is extremely impressive. And so I think this is kind of the same situation where they're targeting Opendoor for false advertising, and maybe at the edge, maybe someone can make an extreme case that Opendoor made a misleading claim at the very edge, i.e., comparing Opendoor to the very, very best of realtors. Maybe he can make that claim. But in general, Opendoor is pretty darn impressive in the services offered. So I look at these more formal criticism and lawsuits from regulators as a as actually a sign that disruption is there, as actually a sign that someone's looking at disruption is not liking it. That's the way I look at it. But not arguing with those fines. I mean that's the nature of doing business. Sometimes a judge is not going to agree with what you do, and you pay a fine, and that is just the nature of doing business. It is a toll on business, and I'm not saying the FTC is wrong or not wrong. I'm just saying, yeah, the service is really really good, whatever the regulators say, as shown and as proven by the customers flocking to Opendoor because Opendoor is better. Uh, Let me move on now to the softer criticism. Well, not softer in words, but softer in terms of financial criticism, which is typically coming from real estate agents. There's a lot, especially 1 year ago. There were a lot of people criticizing Opendoor, and you really have two kinds. You have those agents who say that Opendoor is manipulating the market, And obviously, when you see the unrealized loss that they had last quarter, you wonder where that claim is, right? I mean, is Opendoor really hoarding houses to make the prices go up? That argument never made any sense, and it still doesn't make sense. And more recently, you have realtors whom not most of them. Again, I want to be clear. I'm not talking about most realtors. I'm talking about some realtors are saying, "Well, let's have fun together. Let's make fun of Opendoor. Let's go ahead and make fun of Opendoor." Opendoor overpaid. Opendoor did not send lowball offer. They overpaid. Of course, anybody would want to sell to Opendoor because Opendoor totally overpays. Did they overpay? I don't think so. So let me just walk through some of the criticism that you see. So unwarranted criticism, right? Because when Opendoor has so much success, and in some markets, I mean, look at in Phoenix, look at in Las Vegas, look at the percentage, double digits. They buy double digits of the homes. This is a sign that you're a disruptor. This is a sign that people are flocking to your service, that people love the prices that you're paying for these homes. And so realtors around here were saying, oh, it's market manipulation. Remember, Zillow was still in the game back then. So actually, Zillow, being more famous than Opendoor, actually Zillow got all of the blame. Zillow perhaps got even more blame than Opendoor. And they were saying, oh, what Zillow does is they buy a bunch of houses in the neighborhood, they sit on it, they get a new appraisal, the house is appraised for more, and after they sit in it for a little bit and they get them reappraised with new comps because they overpaid for these houses and get them reappraised, then they can artificially inflate the prices by hoarding homes. And there were different versions of accusations of that, of companies like Opendoor Zillow inflating prices. And again, how ridiculous was that claim? When we've seen how fast the market turned. The market turned so fast. How ridiculous was that claim? That claim was ridiculous. Uh, and what I will say to people claiming that Opendoor is manipulating the market is do not confuse success with manipulation. That's just what I have to say. And the over criticism is people criticism the algorithm of Opendoor. People saying that Opendoor is overpaying. And this is a much more interesting criticism to me to address because Opendoor was pretty much getting all of the deals. I mean, pretty much sellers agents were not getting business to list homes because people were choosing to sell their homes to Opendoor in droves and to pay a 5% service fee minus repairs as opposed to going through the traditional process. That's disruptive. That's very, very disruptive. And so realtors, a lot of realtors on social media are quick to cherry pick data and be like, oh, well, they overpaid. Oh, in my market, they overpaid. In my market, they overpaid. So they use idiosyncrasies. They use specific examples. And then they extrapolate this example to the whole United States. And they say, oh, look, Opendoor overpaid everywhere. Just because your idiosyncratic example in your tiny market works your way, you take that argument and you expand it to everything, to the whole US. And it doesn't work like that. But on the off chance that Opendoor overpays, sure, is because the algorithm is still new, right? That's why they may overpay on some houses. They may overdo it on some houses. But machine learning or algorithms that make these offers with the help of an agent, oftentimes, um, of an Opendoor, not agent, but an Opendoor person, oftentimes, or operator, they get better over time. The more these algorithms, the algorithms that Opendoor uses, gets better over time as it ingests more data. For it is the nature of algos. It's the nature of machine learning that the more data you ingest, the better you get. So be careful when you say they're overpaying because the algorithm is going to get much, 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 much better and exponentially better. So that's my point number one. And then regarding the Opendoor overpays argument, well, this is what I have to say to that. A fair service with a fair spread is the only way to build a customer-centric business. Opendoor does not overpay. Often, Opendoor simply pays market price. They pay a fair price. And so some home flippers, for example, are making fun of Opendoor, saying that, oh, Opendoor doesn't do any lowball offers. You got to do a lowball offer. You know, for every 10 offers I make, only one takes it because they say loud and proud that they lowball sellers, sorry, they lowball them. They take advantage of situations to pay less. And they have quotes like, "Oh, you make money when you buy the real estate. You don't make money when you sell it. You gotta buy low, buy low, buy low." Like playing a numbers game of insulting offers to sellers who sometimes just want an easy way. Sometimes just want an easy way to sell a house. To sellers who are not professional home sellers, and they just want something easy. They don't want to be lowballed. They don't want to be ripped off. And how do you build a customer-centric business? You build a customer-centric business by offering a fair offer. This is why Opendoor in all of these markets gained 15-20% of all of the homes bought. That is so much less business for the legacy traditional real estate world that charges 3% because Opendoor just buys it. So it's less business. It's business taken away. And you don't want lowball offers because Opendoor's playing the long-term game here. Americans sell their homes 7 times in a lifetime on average. You will sell and buy a house 7 times on average. I'm talking about averages. So do you think a customer who was lowballed on a sale of their primary residence once, do you think they will go back to that company? No, they won't. If Amazon had ripped off its customers in the early days, customers would have never come back with Amazon. That is how brands die. That is temporary competitive advantage. When you just use rent sinking in order to make a higher profit in the short term. That is short-term thinking. Long-term thinking is making sure that your buyers are happy. Long-term thinking is making sure that whenever you sell a home on Opendoor, you recommend Opendoor to your friends when they're looking to sell a house. People who have been lowballed on their houses are not going to recommend lowballers. They're just not going to recommend people who give bad offers, right? And in 8 years, if someone lowballed you on your house and you got a terrible price, you're not going back to them. You're not going back to them when it's time to sell. I sold my house with Opendoor. They gave me a fair offer. I was happy with it. I guarantee you that the next time I sell my house here or another house that I have as a rental, the next time I sell these houses, I will go to Opendoor first. And I'll fill that form and see, because I know Opendoor gives a fair offer. I know Opendoor gives a fair offer. This is very important. This is long-term thinking. Opendoor is not overpaying. Opendoor is paying a fair amount of money for the home so that you get a good impression of them. You recommend it to your friends. You have a high net promoter score. You give good reviews. You create a good positive word of mouth. And in 5, 7, 10 years, whenever it's time for you to sell a house again, you think about Opendoor. That is how you build a brand. That is how I build a brand. Businesses built for the long run have win-win relationships with their customers. Why are so many customers obsessed with Apple, Amazon, Netflix? Why is that? Because they've created win-win relationships with their customers where the company is not in a confrontation with the customer. The company is not trying to rip off the customer. The company is trying to provide a fair service for a fair price. And that is how you're rewarded with growth. You're rewarded with growth by providing real value to people, long-term value. I will also say that people should be careful and should be humble when you criticize an algorithm. An algorithm gets better. People criticizing Tesla's self-driving should be humble. People criticizing Opendoor's recommender systems or pricing systems or Zillow's Z-estimate should be very, very humble, because those data-driven software get better over time, and it is an exponential increase in skill, not a linear increase in skill. Even the best at their craft eventually find that an algo is better than them. Even real estate agents, even the best real estate agents will one day have an algorithm, a machine learning piece of code that gets better than them. This happened to a chess player, Garry Kasparov, in 1997. The world couldn't believe it. Happened more recently to Lee Sedol, champion of Go, a game so much harder than chess. AlphaGo, Google software, beat the Go champion. Project Debater at IBM, the best debaters getting beat. Watson, being better than Ken Jennings, the champion of Jeopardy. People who are the best at their craft eventually find when an algorithm gets better than them. So I would be very humble when, I am just, when someone is just having fun criticizing the current state of the algorithm, because the current state of the algorithm is not the final state. And lastly, these algorithms, even if they're just, better than, say, 95% of all agents, remember that they are deployed at scale. You only need to develop it once, and then you deploy it for the whole country. Deployed at scale, at no or zero to no or very low marginal cost, almost no marginal cost. So that is one last thing. So in conclusion, of course, not investment advice ever. But in conclusion, I think the criticism of Opendoor is a signal that Opendoor is onto something. Opendoor is disruptive, and they are disrupting a market, and thus they are triggering a lot of criticism. And that's okay. So thank you so much for my video. Thank you for your support. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video. None of this has been investment advice. And please follow me on Beat the Denominator on Twitter, as I'm posting regularly some Twitter threads. So I hope to see you on these platforms. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.